The explanation on North Korean topography is now starting. Thank you for visiting Mount Odu Unification Observatory, the scene of national division, located in the northernmost and the western point of the Korean Peninsula, where the same people are under different names and flags, using heterogeneous languages. This is a scene of a miserable division. There have not been coming and goings of people for more than half a century, as the river between the countries marks the southern boundary line, the south's borderline, and the ground mark of the northern boundary, the north's borderline, divided the land. This is also located close to Seoul, the capital of South Korea. It takes about an hour by car, and Panmunjom is located in the northwest, 24 kilometers from here, along the Joryuho. The place across the Han River on the left is Hansamyeon, Gimpo-shi of South Korea. And according to North Korea's administrative sections, the place across Imjin River on the front is Gwangsang Peninsula, Gaeponggun, Hwanghae-bok-do. The river you can see, either with the naked eye or on the screen, is a neutral region. That is the Joint Control District without any signals of the military demarcation line, the border of North and South Korea. The widest part of the river is 3.2 kilometers, and the narrowest is 460 meters, and is the spot where the long reed field is on your right along Imjin River. Where the North Korean guard post is across the river, on the screen is North Korea. It is very close. It takes about 15 minutes to get there on foot. The river in the front, flowing from right to left, 256 kilometers from Yongpo-ri, Hamgyeongnam-do of North Korea to this place, is Imjin River, and it joins Han River in front of the observatory, and flows to the West Sea at a distance of 14 kilometers. Due to the West Sea effect, periodical low and high tides occur twice every day, and it is fairly deep at high tide, with a depth of 3 to 5 meters. There is barely any water in the riverbed at low tide. It takes about 8 hours for water to sink, yet it only takes 4 hours for water to run in with the average speed of 9 kilometers per hour, which is the speed of an adult walking fast. The North Korean region seen on the front is composed of 21 rees, with some 4,000 residents in approximately 1,100 households, which military families take up 65%. From Samgyeopro on the very left to Yugo-ni on the right end, their primary business is agriculture, forming the main current of rice and corn farming. Maybe it is because it is located in the foremost front of North Korea, but the movement of residents is rarely seen, except for the busy farming seasons. Nevertheless, many people can be seen on the days of events, such as birthdays of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. Let's look at the reality of North Korea through observations of North Korean regions seen on the front. Firstly, when looking at mountains and fields, there are barely any trees on the northern mountains. The expected reasons for such are the use of firewood due to energy deficiency, reclamation of farmland by reclaiming hills in forms of steppes, and to look out for escapes of residents. Secondly, as for the residing condition, namely houses of North Korea seen on the front, there were many old one-story tile-roofed houses and 2 to 5-story buildings, which were built as propaganda in the 80s. Nevertheless, North Korea was aware of the visitors when the Tongil Tower was constructed in the early 90s, and preceded the constructions of 3-story buildings called agricultural culture houses for 39 dongs in 4 regions. It is still going on up to the present day, however. Some residents of 19 dongs are residing in unfinished buildings, with no roofs due to the lack of construction materials. The 5-story propaganda buildings were destroyed due to age in 2007, and 17 dongs of single-story clay brick buildings where residents residing at the moment were built around it. Thirdly, when looking at roads and transportation systems for North Korean residents and soldiers, all the roads are not paved, and there are rarely any cars shortage, so most people ride bicycles or walk. Fourthly, rice or corn are the main crops in agricultural operations. Yet the action of giving fertilizer has not been observed, possibly because of fertilizer shortage, and the growing condition of the crops cultivated with compost does not seem so good. As for agricultural machinery, farming is processed mostly with manpower, although a tractor is seen sometimes, and it takes a long time for rice transplantation, since it is dependent solely on rainfall for water, for there are no reservoirs. Finally, there are Imhin Wunhua Huiguan, the cultural hall for the people, 4-year Imhan Primary School, which is the equivalent of South Korea's elementary school, and Kim Il-sung's historical relic building for the idolization of Kim Il-sung. The ideological education for residents, students, and soldiers are conducted at this place. Also, since all the crops are nobody's private possession, there is one threshing floor for each village, cooperative farm unit, to gather crops and thresh for a long period of time. As for military installations, there are many scattered guard posts, such as a military unit for bridge installation in time of emergency, a guarding military unit in charge of the northern boundary line around the river day and night, and the newly built forefront guard post. Dear visitors, as you have seen, North Korea is in difficult circumstances regarding various livelihoods such as food and residence, due to energy deficiency and transportation compared to South Korea. Although South Korea has given much support and help through inter-Korea summit talks, ministerial conferences, and administrative conferences for many years, North Korea has not changed much. However, since we are the same people, the circumstances of the North Koreans cannot be neglected by an unconcerned spectator. Denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and the era of unification should be accomplished by realizing trust building and military detente between the North and the South, approaching softly while thoroughly fulfilling principles of an economic community and a happy community, and developing the relationship of coexistence and co-prosperity. That concludes the explanation of the North Korean region.